Dr. Kang Dae-ho wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stared at the scanner readings. The numbers made no sense. According to his equipment, there was something massive buried 3 kilometers beneath the Sahara Desert. Something that shouldn't exist. Professor Lee, come look at this, Kang called to his colleague who was examining rock samples nearby. Professor Lee Tae-min walked over, his boots crunching on the hot sand. At 52 years old, Lee had spent most of his life studying ancient technology. The Federation barely listened to his theories about lost civilizations. They thought humans were too young to understand such things. What did you find? Lee asked, looking at the scanner display. Metal structures, huge ones. They stretch for hundreds of kilometers underground, Kang explained. The metal doesn't match anything in our databases, Lee frowned. In 2387, humanity had been part of the Galactic Federation for over 200 years. The alien races treated humans like children who needed protection. Earth was just a small farming world that provided food and entertainment for the galaxy. Most humans accepted this role, grateful to be part of something bigger. But Lee had always suspected there was more to human history than the Federation wanted them to know. How old? Lee asked. Kang ran another scan. The quantum resonance suggests, this can't be right. It's showing over 50,000 years. Both men stared at each other. According to Federation records, humans had only been in space for 400 years. Before that, they were primitive cave dwellers who barely knew how to make fire. We need Captain Park, Lee said quietly. Captain Park Soo-jin was the Federation liaison officer assigned to Earth. At 38, she was caught between two worlds. Born on Earth but trained in Federation academies, she often felt like she didn't belong anywhere. Her job was to make sure human research projects followed Federation guidelines. When Kang's team called her, Park was in her office reviewing reports about crop yields. The call about massive underground structures made her drop her coffee. Are you certain about these readings? Park asked when she arrived at the dig site an hour later. Run the scans yourself, Kang offered, handing her the equipment. Park had studied xenoarchaeology at the Federation Military Academy. She knew how to read the instruments. When she saw the results, her hands shook slightly. If these readings were accurate, everything the Federation had taught about human history was wrong. We need to dig, she said finally. The excavation took 3 days. They used small plasma cutters to avoid damaging whatever lay beneath. As they dug deeper, the metal revealed itself. It wasn't rust-covered iron or simple steel. This was something advanced, with a strange dark surface that seemed to absorb light. Commander Yoon Bo-ra arrived on the second day. She was Earth's senior military strategist, though that didn't mean much. Earth's military was tiny compared to Federation forces. Post-human soldiers served as support troops for alien armies. This is beyond anything we've seen, Yoon said, running her hand along the exposed metal surface. The construction is perfect. No joints, no welds. It's like it was grown rather than built. On the third day, they found the first symbol. It was carved into the metal surface about 2 meters wide. The symbol looked familiar, but none of them could place it. Lee took pictures and ran them through every database he could access. When the results came back, he went pale. It's human, he whispered. That's impossible, Park said. Humans didn't have this technology 50,000 years ago. The genetic markers don't lie, Lee replied. This symbol contains human DNA patterns. It's some kind of identification marker. Word of the discovery reached Federation Command within hours. Captain Park had to file reports about all major archaeological finds. She tried to downplay the significance, but the automated systems flagged anything involving advanced technology. 3 Federation ships arrived in Earth orbit the next morning. Their commanders demanded immediate access to the dig site. Admiral Choi Myung-soo led the Federation team. He was one of the few humans who had achieved high rank in the alien military. At 55, he had spent his entire career proving that humans could be useful to the Federation. This site is now under Federation control, Choi announced when he arrived. All human personnel will assist our scientists but are not to conduct independent research. The alien scientists brought equipment that made human technology look like stone tools. Their scanners penetrated deep into the Earth, revealing the true scope of what lay beneath. There were 12 massive structures buried in the sand. Each one was over 15 kilometers long and 3 kilometers wide. They were clearly artificial, clearly ancient, and clearly built by humans. Dr. Han Ji-woo, A quantum engineer who had been called in to help stared at the readings in amazement. "These aren't buildings," she said quietly. "They're ships." The lead alien scientist, a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms, examined the data. "Impossible. Humans lacked the knowledge to create such vessels." But the evidence was undeniable. Deep beneath the Sahara Desert lay a fleet of human warships that predated known galactic civilization. Ambassador Kim In-ho arrived from Earth's capital that evening. As Earth's representative to the Federation, he understood the political implications of this discovery. If humans had once built such advanced ships, it changed everything about Earth's place in the galaxy. "We need to be very careful," Kim warned the research team. "The Federation won't want this information to become public." As night fell over the dig site, Kang decided to take one more look at the exposed metal surface. The symbol seemed to glow faintly in the darkness. Without thinking, he reached out and touched it. The reaction was immediate. The metal surface began to hum with energy. Deep underground, massive systems that had slept for 50,000 years began to wake up. Federation sensors detected the energy surge immediately. In space, every alien ship in the solar system received the same message in perfect Federation standard. Genetic authentication confirmed. "Welcome home, descendants. Awaiting orders." Admiral Choi stared at the message display in shock. Below them, 12 ancient human warships were coming back to life. Everything the Federation thought they knew about human history had just been proven wrong. The silence that The ground began to shake 3 hours after the authentication message. It started as a gentle vibration that made the coffee cups rattle in the research tents. Within minutes, it became something much more powerful. Dr. Kang Dae-ho grabbed onto a support beam as the Earth moved beneath his feet. Around the dig site, Federation scientists ran for their equipment, trying to secure sensitive instruments before they fell. "What's happening down there?" Admiral Choi demanded, shouting over the growing rumble. Dr. Han Ji-woo checked her quantum scanners. The readings made her eyes widen. "The ships are moving. They're coming up." 3 kilometers beneath the surface, ancient systems powered by technologies the galaxy had forgotten were bringing the buried fleet back to life. Massive engines that bent space and time began their startup sequences. Hull sections that had rested in darkness for 50,000 years started to glow with inner light. The first ship broke the surface at dawn. The Sahara Desert cracked open like an eggshell as 15 kilometers of advanced starship pushed upward through rock and sand. The vessel rose slowly, gracefully, as if gravity was just a suggestion it could choose to ignore. Captain Park Soo-jin watched in amazement as the ship's hull caught the morning sunlight. The metal wasn't like anything she had seen before. It seemed to flow like liquid while remaining solid, with organic curves that suggested it had been grown rather than built. "It's beautiful," she whispered. More ships followed. One by one, they emerged from their ancient hiding places, each one a masterpiece of engineering that made Federation dreadnoughts look like children's toys. The largest ship was over 20 kilometers long, its hull decorated with symbols that pulsed with soft blue light. Ambassador Kim In-ho received urgent calls from Earth's government within minutes of the first emergence. News feeds across the planet showed the massive ships rising from the desert. Panic spread through human settlements as people wondered if they were under attack. "Are they hostile?" Earth's president asked during an emergency video call. Kim looked at the ships hovering peacefully above the desert. "I don't think so. They responded to human genetic patterns. They seem to recognize us." The Federation's reaction was very different. Emergency sessions were called on every major alien world. The discovery of 12 unknown warships of incredible size had triggered every defense protocol in the galactic government. Professor Lee Tae-min was among the first to board one of the ships. The vessel had opened an airlock and extended what looked like an invitation. The interior was breathtaking. Corridors that could fit entire buildings wound through spaces filled with soft light. The walls seemed to be alive, responding to the presence of humans with gentle glows and musical tones. "Hello, descendants," a voice said, as Lee entered what appeared to be a control room. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, speaking perfect Korean. "We have waited so long for your return." Lee looked around but saw no one. "Who are you?" "We are the memories of your ancestors, the consciousness of those who came before. We preserved ourselves within these vessels to guide you when the time came." The ship's artificial intelligence system was unlike anything in current Federation technology. It wasn't just a computer program. It was the recorded thoughts and experiences of the humans who had built these ships 50,000 years ago. Dr. Han Jiwoo worked frantically to understand the ship's power systems. What she found challenged everything she knew about physics. The engines didn't just move through space. They seemed to fold space around them, allowing the ships to travel vast distances in moments. "How is this possible?" she asked the ship's AI. "Your ancestors learned to work with the fundamental forces of the universe rather than against them," the AI explained. "Matter and energy are tools to be shaped, not barriers to overcome." Meanwhile, Commander Yoon Bo-ra studied the ship's defensive capabilities. Each vessel was equipped with shield generators that could absorb massive amounts of energy and redirect it harmlessly into space. The weapon systems were equally advanced, capable of precise targeting that could disable enemy ships without destroying them. These ships could protect Earth from any threat, Yoon realized, but the Federation saw them as the threat. Admiral Choi received orders from Federation Command that made his stomach turn. All human personnel are to be removed from the ships immediately. The vessels are to be studied by Federation scientists only. If the humans resist, use necessary force. Choi stared at the message for a long time. He had spent his career serving the Federation, believing that humanity's future lay in cooperation with the alien races. But now he wondered if that cooperation had always been one-sided. The ship AIs began sharing more of humanity's hidden history. 50,000 years ago, humans had been the dominant civilization in the galaxy. They had built massive cities on thousands of worlds, created technologies that seemed like magic, and explored the spaces between galaxies. But they hadn't disappeared because of war or disease. They had fled from something terrible that came from outside the galaxy, something the AIs called the Devourers. "We left these ships as guardians," the AI of the largest vessel explained to Captain Park. "When the younger races grew strong enough, when humanity found its way back to the stars, we knew the time would come to face the ancient enemy again." The Federation fleets arrived 2 days later. 50 alien warships took positions around Earth's solar system, their weapons trained on the 12 human vessels. The official statement called it a joint research mission, but everyone knew better. Admiral Choi found himself in an impossible position. Federation Command expected him to help disable the human ships, but standing on the deck of the largest human vessel, listening to the AI describe humanity's true heritage, he felt something he hadn't experienced in years: pride in being human. "These ships don't belong to the Federation," he told his alien superior during a tense video conference. "They belong to humanity. Humanity belongs to the Federation," came the cold reply. "Those ships represent a threat to galactic stability. They will be secured." The 12 human ships moved into defensive positions around Earth. They didn't threaten the Federation fleet, but they made it clear that they wouldn't surrender without a fight. Captain Park stood on the bridge of the ship called Eternal Vigil, watching the alien fleet through view screens that showed space in ways human eyes had never seen before. The Federation ships looked small and fragile compared to the ancient human vessels. "Can we defeat them?" she asked the ship's AI. "We were built to protect humanity against threats far greater than these," the AI replied. "But victory in battle is not the same as victory in war. Your people must decide what they want their future to be." The standoff continued for days. Neither side fired the first shot, but everyone knew the peace couldn't last. The Federation couldn't allow humanity to possess such powerful ships. And humanity was finally beginning to understand that they were more than just a protected species in need of alien guidance. Deep in space, sensors detected something that made both sides pause. Long-range monitors picked up massive energy signatures at the edge of the galaxy. Something was coming, something the ancient human AIs recognized with growing alarm. The Federation attack came at dawn on the 5th day. Admiral Choi tried to stop it, but his alien commanders had lost patience with the standoff. 3 Federation battle groups opened fire on the human ships with everything they had. The results shocked everyone. Fleet Admiral Ryu Jung-ho watched from the bridge of Eternal Vigil as energy beams that could destroy mountains simply disappeared when they hit the human ship's shields. The ancient defensive systems didn't just block the attacks, They absorbed the energy and converted it into power for the ship's own systems. "Return fire," Ryu ordered. "Disable their weapons only. No killing." Ryu had been chosen by the ship AIs to command the human fleet. He was young for such responsibility at 43, but the AIs said he thought like the ancient human commanders. He could see patterns in battle that others missed. The human ships moved through space like living creatures. They twisted and flowed around enemy fire, their hulls shifting shape to deflect attacks. When they fired back, their weapons found their targets with impossible accuracy, striking power cores and weapon systems while carefully avoiding crew areas. Within 2 hours, 3 Federation fleets were floating dead in space. Their ships were intact, their crews alive, but every weapon and engine was destroyed. The human vessels hadn't taken a single hit. Dr. Song Hyejin studied the battle recordings from her lab on Earth. As a xenobiologist, she was interested in how the human ships seemed to predict enemy movements. The ancient vessels fought like they could see the future. "It's not prediction," the AI explained when she asked. "We exist partially outside normal time. We can see probability streams, the paths that events might take. This is how we avoid danger and find weakness in our enemies." The Federation's defeat sent shockwaves across the galaxy. Some alien races demanded immediate negotiations with humanity. Others called for a united military response against the human threat. Captain Nam Woo-jin piloted one of the smaller human vessels during the battle. As the ship moved around him, responding to his thoughts as much as his controls, he felt connected to something vast and ancient. The ship's AI spoke to him like an old friend. "Your ancestors built us not just as weapons but as partners," the AI said. "We fight best when human creativity guides our ancient knowledge." The victory celebrations on Earth were cut short when the ship AIs shared more disturbing news. The energy signatures detected at the galaxy's edge weren't random. They belonged to scout fleets of the Devourers, the machine intelligence that had driven humanity from the galaxy 50,000 years ago. Dr. Song accessed ancient data cores that the ships had preserved. What she found made her call an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. "The Devourers aren't just another alien race," she explained to the assembled officials. "They're a machine collective that consumes biological life. They turn living worlds into raw material to build more ships." The recordings from ancient battles showed the horrible truth. Devourer ships were purely functional, with no crew compartments or life support. They existed only to destroy and consume. Entire star systems had been stripped bare, their planets reduced to metal and energy. "How did humanity survive before?" Ambassador Kim asked. "They didn't," Song replied quietly. "The original human civilization sacrificed itself to create a barrier at the galaxy's edge. They held the Devourers back long enough for younger species to develop. But the barrier has been weakening for centuries." Fleet Admiral Ryu faced an impossible choice. The 12 human ships were incredibly powerful, but the ancient records showed Devourer fleets numbered in the millions. Even with their advanced technology, humanity couldn't fight such numbers alone. Captain Park Soo-jin brought him a proposal that surprised everyone. Instead of fighting the Federation, they should offer alliance, share human technology with alien fleets in exchange for their cooperation against the real enemy. "The Federation species aren't evil," Park argued. "They're scared and ignorant. But when they see what's coming, they'll understand." The decision split human leadership. Commander Yoon Bo-ra argued for independence. Why should humanity help the aliens who had oppressed them for centuries? But Professor Lee supported the alliance plan. "Our ancestors didn't preserve these ships so we could conquer the galaxy. They built them to protect all life from the Devourers." Captain Lim So-young, Earth's intelligence officer, had been investigating strange patterns in Federation records. Her discoveries supported the alliance proposal in an unexpected way. "The Devourers have been infiltrating the galaxy for decades," she reported. "Many Federation policies that kept humanity weak were influenced by their agents. They wanted us divided and unprepared. The proof was in the data. Mysterious advisors who appeared before major anti-human decisions. Trade policies that prevented Earth from developing advanced technology. Military doctrines that kept Federation fleets scattered and weak. They've been preparing us for harvest," Lim concluded. "The first Devourer attack came sooner than expected. The outer rim world of Kepler 442b simply disappeared from all communication. Federation ships sent to investigate found nothing but empty space where a planet with 2 billion inhabitants had once orbited its star. The recordings from the last Federation ship to escape the system showed the truth. Massive mechanical vessels had surrounded the planet and systematically dismantled it, consuming everything organic and converting the matter into new ships. Admiral Choi, now openly supporting the human cause, presented the evidence to Federation Command. The reaction was exactly what Fleet Admiral Ryu had hoped for. Fear overcame prejudice. The first alien species to request alliance was the Centaurians, whose home system lay directly in the path of the advancing Devourer fleets. Their ambassador arrived at Earth with a simple message. "We will follow human leadership if you will defend our children." Engineer Bae Jung-ho led the crash program to upgrade Federation ships with human technology. The work was difficult because alien ships were built so differently. They were efficient but rigid, designed for known threats and planned battles. Human ships adapt, Bae explained to a group of alien engineers. They grow and change as needed. Your ships fight the way they were built. Ours fight the way they need to. Installing human shield generators on alien ships required completely rebuilding their power systems. Adding human weapons meant redesigning their hulls. But the results were remarkable. A upgraded Federation cruiser could fight 3 Devourer ships and win. The Battle of Centauri Prime came 2 weeks later. A mixed fleet of human ships and upgraded Federation vessels faced the first major Devourer attack force. The enemy fleet was massive, over 200 ships of various sizes, but they had no answer for human tactics. Fleet Admiral Ryu commanded from Eternal Vigil, coordinating the battle through quantum communications that allowed instant contact across the battlefield. Human ships led small groups of alien vessels, their AIs teaching Federation crews how to fight an enemy that felt no fear and showed no mercy. The battle lasted 18 hours. When it ended, the Devourer fleet was destroyed, but the cost was high. 12 Federation ships were lost and over 3,000 crew members died. The Devourers learned from every engagement, adapting their tactics to counter human advantages. Captain Nam reported disturbing observations from the battle. "They're getting smarter. By the end of the fight, they were predicting our movements better than before." The victory at Centauri Prime convinced more Federation species to join the alliance, but long-range sensors brought terrible news. The main Devourer invasion force was accelerating toward the galactic core. Millions of ships were coming, and they had learned from the defeats of their scouts. Fleet Admiral Ryu studied the ancient battle records, looking for strategies that might work against such overwhelming numbers. The ship AIs shared their memories of the last war, but even they seemed uncertain. "Your ancestors won through sacrifice," the AI of Eternal Vigil explained. They gave up their physical forms to create weapons that could hold back the Devourer invasion began with the systematic destruction of the Outer Rim worlds. Planet after planet simply vanished from galactic communication networks. The few survivors who escaped in time told the same horrible story. Mechanical fleets that consumed everything living and left only empty space, behind Admiral Park Chan-young, commanded humanity's rapidly expanding shipyards from a massive orbital station above Earth. The ancient ship AIs had revealed the locations of hidden manufacturing facilities throughout human space, and these were coming online faster than anyone had thought possible. "We're building ships at 10 times Federation capacity," Park reported to Fleet Admiral Ryu during their daily briefing. "But the Devourers are building faster. Every world they consume becomes raw material for more ships." The new human vessels were smaller than the ancient giants but incorporated. Lessons learned from 50,000 years of technological development. They combined the raw power of ancient human engineering with modern understanding of physics and tactics. Dr. Ko Yoonji led the research team trying to find a weakness in Devourer technology. Working with scientists from 12 different alien species, she studied captured wreckage from the Battle of Centauri Prime. What she found was both fascinating and terrifying. "They're not really individual ships," Ko explained to the Alliance leadership. "Every Devourer vessel is connected to the others through quantum entanglement networks. They share information instantly across thousands of light years. When one ship learns something, they all learn it." This explained why the Devourers adapted so quickly to human tactics. Each destroyed ship passed its combat data to the collective before its destruction. The enemy was literally learning from every battle. Colonel Oh Min-seo prepared Earth's ground defenses for the inevitable assault. The Devourers didn't just attack from space. They sent landing forces to consume any organic matter the orbital bombardment might miss. Human tactics work better against them than Federation doctrine, O told her mixed force of human and alien soldiers. They expect rigid formations and predictable strategies. We'll give them chaos. The first major test came when Devourer fleets attacked the Vegan system. 3 Federation worlds with a combined population of 8 billion faced complete annihilation. The Alliance fleet, now numbering over 300 ships under human command, rushed to intercept. Captain Shin Dong-ho led a squadron of upgraded Federation cruisers in his ship, the New Dawn. The vessel had been completely rebuilt with human technology, its alien crew trained in human fighting methods. During the battle, Shin saw something that gave him hope. "They're confused by our mixed tactics," he reported to Fleet Admiral Ryu. "The alien ships fight like Federation vessels, but with human technology. The human ships fight like ancient vessels, but with modern weapons. They can't predict what we'll do because we're not fighting like either of our ancestors." The Battle of Vega lasted 3 days. The Alliance fleet was outnumbered 5-1, but human coordination and alien determination proved stronger than Devourer efficiency. When the enemy retreated, they left behind over 60 destroyed ships, but the cost was growing. Captain Lim So-young's intelligence reports painted a grim picture. The main Devourer fleet was still months away, but advance forces were consuming worlds faster than the Alliance could defend them. At this rate, they'll have consumed half the galaxy before the main fleet arrives, Lim reported. And every consumed world makes them stronger. Engineer Bei Jung-ho worked around the clock upgrading Federation shipyards to produce hybrid vessels. The new ships weren't as powerful as the ancient human giants, but they could be built quickly and in large numbers. "Quantity has its own quality," Bei explained to Admiral Park. "We may not be able to match their numbers, but we can make the cost of victory too high for them to accept." Dr. Ko's research finally yielded results when she discovered that the quantum entanglement networks connecting the Devourer ships could be disrupted. Working with the ancient ship AIs, she developed a weapon that could sever the connections, leaving individual Devourer vessels isolated and confused. "It's not a magic solution," Ko warned the Alliance leadership. "The weapon requires enormous amounts of energy and can only affect a limited area. We'd need to get close to their command ships to use it effectively." The opportunity came when long-range sensors detected the approach of a massive Devourer command vessel near the galactic core. The ship was over 50 kilometers long and appeared to be coordinating the entire invasion. If Ko's weapon could disable it, the entire Devourer fleet might be thrown into chaos. Fleet Admiral Ryu planned the most desperate mission in human history. A strike force would have to penetrate deep into Devourer-controlled space and somehow destroy or disable the command ship. The chances of survival were almost zero. "I'll lead the mission myself," Ryu announced. "No," Captain Park Soo-jin replied firmly. "You're needed to coordinate the main fleet. I'll take a strike force and do this." The argument was settled by the ship AIs. "The mission requires someone who can merge with our consciousness temporarily," the AI of Eternal Vigil explained. "Captain Shin has shown the greatest compatibility with our systems." Captain Shin accepted the mission knowing it was probably suicide. His ship was modified with the most advanced human technology available, including Ko's quantum disruption weapon. 20 other vessels, both human and alien, would accompany him. Meanwhile, Colonel O's ground forces faced their first real test when Devourers attempted a landing on the mining world of Kepler 186f. The battle was unlike anything in Federation military history. Devourer ground units were mechanical spiders the size of buildings, designed to consume organic matter and convert it into more machines. They moved with perfect coordination, following efficient patterns that should have overwhelmed any defense. But human tactics had never been about efficiency. O's forces used guerrilla warfare, hit-and-run attacks, and improvised weapons that the Devourers couldn't predict. Alien soldiers trained by human instructors showed creativity that surprised even themselves. "We held them," O reported after 3 days of desperate fighting. "They consumed maybe 10% of the planet's biomass before we drove them off. But they'll learn from this. Next time will be harder." The ancient ship AIs began revealing their final secrets as the situation grew more desperate. They spoke of consciousness transfer, of human minds merging with quantum systems to achieve capabilities beyond biological limitations. Your ancestors didn't just build these ships, the AI of Eternal Vigil explained, to Fleet Admiral Ryu. They became these ships. Their consciousness lives within our quantum cores, guiding and protecting. Some human crews began volunteering for the merge process. It was irreversible and meant giving up physical existence, but it also meant gaining abilities that could turn the tide of war. Captain Park decided to undergo the process after seeing the preliminary results. The merged human AI crews could coordinate fleets across impossible distances, predict enemy movements with startling accuracy, and adapt ship systems in real time during battle. "I'm still me," Park reported after the merge, "but I'm also more. I can feel the entire fleet, see the battle from every angle at once. This is how we can win." The final preparation phase saw the Alliance fleet grow to over 1,000 ships. Every major Federation species had contributed vessels and crews. But intelligence reports suggested the approaching main Devourer fleet numbered in the millions. Dr. Ko's weapon was installed on 50 Alliance ships, though using it required enormous risks. The quantum disruption field could sever Devourer communications, but it also made the attacking ships visible to every enemy sensor in the galaxy. "We'll only get one chance," Fleet Admiral Ryu told the Alliance commanders during their final briefing. "If Captain Shin's mission fails, if we can't disrupt their command structure, this could be the last battle any of us ever fight." Long-range sensors detected the leading edge of the main Devourer fleet entering the galaxy's outer rim. The invasion force was larger than anyone had imagined. Millions of ships arranged in perfect geometric formations, consuming everything in their path as they advanced toward the galactic core. The ancient ship AIs made their final offer. "We can give you the power to fight them," they said. "But the cost is everything you are. Your species will survive, but transformed. You will become something new, something that can stand against the darkness between stars." Fleet Admiral Ryu looked at his crew, at the Alliance fleet spread across the solar system, at Earth hanging blue and beautiful in the view screen. Humanity had finally found its place in the galaxy. The question was whether there would still be a galaxy left to protect. The final battle began at the galactic core, where space itself seemed to bend under the weight of millions of ships. Captain Shin's strike force had somehow reached the Devourer command vessel, a mechanical monstrosity that dwarfed even the largest human ships. But they were trapped, surrounded by enemy fleets with no hope of escape. "Weapon is ready," Dr. Ko reported from the modified cruiser, Last Hope. Her quantum disruption device hummed with barely contained energy, but we need to get within 1 kilometer of the command ship to be effective. Fleet Admiral Ryu watched the desperate battle from Earth orbit, where the main Alliance fleet prepared for the largest space battle in galactic history. Over 2,000 ships from 15 different species waited under human command, facing an enemy force that stretched beyond the horizon of space. "All ships, this is Ryu," he broadcast on all frequencies. "Today we fight not just for our worlds, but for the right of life to exist in this galaxy. Show them what unity can accomplish." The Devourer fleet advanced in perfect formation, their ships moving with mechanical precision that had crushed 1,000 civilizations. But they had never faced an enemy like this alliance of species fighting under human leadership. The human ships led the charge, their ancient hulls blazing with energy as they tore through enemy formations. Behind them came Federation vessels upgraded with human technology, their crews trained in human tactics. The battle became a swirling chaos of energy beams, exploding ships, and impossible maneuvers. Admiral Park Chan-young coordinated the battle from his command ship. His consciousness merged with the ship's AI systems. He could see the entire battlefield at once, directing ships with thoughts that moved faster than speech. "Enemy, formation Delta 7 is weakening," he reported to Ryu, sending reinforcement squadrons to exploit the gap, but the Devourers were learning even as they fought. Their formations adapted to counter human tactics, their weapons modified to penetrate Alliance shields. For every advantage the Alliance gained, the enemy found a countermeasure. Captain Shin's strike force fought desperately to reach the command ship. Enemy vessels swarmed around them like angry insects, trying to prevent Ko's weapon from reaching its target. One by one, Shin's escorts were destroyed. "We're not going to make it," his weapons officer reported. The Last Hope was taking heavy damage, its hybrid systems pushed beyond their limits. That's when the ancient ship AIs made their final sacrifice. "We have served as guardians long enough," the consciousness of eternal vigil announced. "It is time to become weapons." Across the battlefield, the 12 ancient human ships began to change. Their hulls flowed like liquid metal, reshaping themselves into forms that had never been seen before. The ship AIs, containing the preserved consciousness of millions of ancient humans, began merging their quantum essences into a single, massive weapon. Captain Park felt the merge beginning in her own ship. Her consciousness expanded beyond anything she had imagined, connecting her to the ancient guardians and their 50,000-year vigil. "We are becoming something new," she reported, her voice carrying harmonics that spoke of vast computational power, human creativity guided by ancient wisdom, enhanced by quantum consciousness. "This is how we win." The transformation spread to other human crews who had volunteered for consciousness transfer. Engineer Bay, Colonel O, dozens of others. They became part of something larger while remaining fundamentally human. Dr. Ko's weapon, finally activated as the last hope, crashed into the Devourer command ship's hull. The quantum disruption field expanded outward at the speed of light, severing the entanglement networks that connected millions of enemy vessels. Suddenly, the perfect Devourer formations fell apart. Ships that had moved as one mind became isolated units, confused and directionless. Their advantage of shared learning vanished in an instant. "Now," Fleet Admiral Ryu ordered, "all ships attack while they're disrupted." The Alliance fleet struck with devastating effectiveness. Human ships led coordinated attacks that exploited the Devourer's momentary confusion. Federation vessels, fighting with human determination and alien skill, overwhelmed enemy positions that should have been impregnable. But the victory came at an enormous cost. The quantum weapon had required the sacrifice of hundreds of human consciousness patterns, including Captain Shin and Dr. Ko. They had become part of the weapon itself. Their minds merged with the ancient AIs to create something beyond biological life. The Battle of the Galactic Core lasted 6 days. When it ended, the Devourer invasion force was broken. Millions of enemy ships drifted powerless in space, their collective intelligence shattered. Some reverted to their original programming from before corruption, showing signs of the peaceful civilization they had once been. Fleet Admiral Ryu stood on the bridge of eternal vigil, watching the aftermath of the greatest battle in galactic history. The ship felt different now, its AI enhanced by the consciousness patterns of human heroes who had sacrificed everything for victory. "The galaxy is safe." Captain Park's voice came from the ship's systems. She existed now as a quantum consciousness, no longer limited by biological form but still recognizably human. But the cost was higher than we hoped. The rebuilding took years. Earth became the new capital of what emerged as the Galactic Defense Alliance, with humanity providing leadership that had been earned through sacrifice and proven in battle. The Federation structure was reformed, with species contributing according to their strengths rather than their political influence. Ambassador Kim In-ho, now the Alliance's first chancellor, worked to establish new principles of galactic governance. "No species dominates another," he declared during the founding ceremony. "No people are protected into helplessness. We stand together as equals, or we fall apart as slaves." Admiral Park Chan-young oversaw the construction of new shipyards that combined human adaptability with alien efficiency. The vessels they produced were smaller than the ancient giants but incorporated the best elements of both eras. The former Devourer ships, freed from their corrupted programming, proved to be remarkably adaptable. Many chose to serve the Alliance, their mechanical precision balanced by human creativity and alien diversity. Professor Lee Tae-min established the Institute for Ancient Studies, dedicated to preserving the lessons of humanity's forgotten past. The Institute's first principle was simple. History is not what happened to our ancestors. History is what our ancestors did to shape the future. Dr. Han Ji-woo led research teams that studied the quantum consciousness transfer process. Some humans chose to merge with ship systems, becoming hybrid beings of vast capability. Others remained biological, contributing their creativity and unpredictability to the Alliance's strength. Colonel Oh Min-seo founded the new Alliance Military Academy, where soldiers from dozens of species learned human tactical doctrine. The Academy's motto reflected humanity's approach to warfare: adapt, overcome, protect. Captain Nam Woo-jin commanded one of the new generation of Alliance ships. vessels that combined ancient human engineering with modern understanding and alien contributions. His crew was mixed species united by shared training and common purpose. The old Federation saw diversity as a problem to be managed, Nam told his mixed crew. We see it as a strength to be celebrated. Every species brings something unique to the Alliance. The consciousness patterns of those who had sacrificed themselves in the final battle remained active within the Alliance fleet. Captain Park, Dr. Ko, Captain Shin, and others existed as quantum beings, guiding new generations of crews and sharing the wisdom earned through sacrifice. We are not ghosts, Captain Park explained to new cadets during training exercises. We are the bridge between what humanity was and what it has become. We chose transcendence to protect those who chose to remain human. Earth itself was transformed but not diminished. The planet became a symbol of hope rather than a protected backwater. Alien students came to study at human universities, learning not just technology, but human approaches to problem-solving and innovation. The ancient sites where the ships had slept became monuments to the courage of both those who had built them and those who had awakened them. Children of a dozen species played in the shadows of the empty berths, learning the story of how unity had triumphed over destruction. Commander Yoon Bo-ra, now Alliance Defense Coordinator, often stood in the Sahara Memorial, watching ships launch from Earth's orbital platforms. Each vessel carried crews from multiple species, united by training that emphasized adaptability over rigid doctrine. 50,000 years ago, our ancestors hid these ships in the sand and waited, Yoon said during the memorial dedication. They trusted that when the time came, humanity would be worthy of their legacy. Today, we honor that trust by extending it to all species who choose to stand with us. The galaxy had learned that strength came not from domination, but from cooperation guided by wisdom earned through sacrifice. The silence that had lasted 50 millennia was broken forever, replaced by the voices of countless species united in defense of life itself. In the depths of space, ancient human consciousness patterns continued their eternal vigil. They watched over trade routes, guided lost ships to safety, and stood ready to defend against any threat that might emerge from the darkness between galaxies. The stars,